All right, what's up, guys? Welcome to my motivational channel, Core Motivate. And in today's video, we are going to be talking about heartbreaks. I feel like that I'm in a good spot in my life to talk on the two times where I've had my heart broken. And yeah, man, both times it wasn't fun. Like I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. There's a lot of different things I done went through in my life. I would rather go through some of those things. I ain't gonna say everything, but I would rather go through some of those things again than to ever go through the two heartbreaks that I went through. Because both times I would say that it destroyed me, like, because, and that's the thing too, where it's like you catch feelings for somebody that you're friends with, like you build a bond with them, and then to have it where I guess they break you down that badly to where it's like, yeah, both times like I cried. Like I remember like there had been some time, since the like because in high school I was like, I think the last time I cried was the last time I got whooped. So like there was that. And I think that was like maybe when I was in middle school or elementary or something like that. I can't remember I think I was in middle school, but either way, I'm like, yeah, it's but and I know people will probably be thinking along the lines too, like, are those cries the same? Nah. Like when you cry off of getting a whooping and stuff like that, that's one of those cries where it's like that's just mandatory. But when you feel yourself, I guess, breaking down and then you just out of nowhere start crying, yeah, that's a different type of cry. Like that's one of those cries where I'm like, I hate those cries. I hate those cries where it's like you feel like you can't do absolutely nothing, because there was a separate situation outside of a heartbreak where I remember there was a family member that I wanted to help out, but I wasn't in the position to help them out because I didn't have like not 1 cent to my name. And so no, yeah, I started crying because I'm like, I don't want something to happen to this family member. This is somebody that I am extremely close with. So I'm like, yeah, I cried because I was all like, man, that's the one time where I'm like, I feel like I could have had my life together and something I couldn't. So that I have to say that was probably the only other time outside of these two cries that I've had where it wasn't caused by, me being a bad kid and stuff. But no, the first time, so yeah, let's just go straight into it and stuff. So the first time I had my heart broken was when I was in high school. I believe it was my junior year in high school. So, anyways, there was this girl that I was cool with. I remember me and her, we were cool with each other in middle school, but she was going to another school at the time. And so but at my junior year she ended up start going to my high school, and so I was like, all right, cool, dope. Like with this opportunity, I'm not gonna let it go. I'm not just gonna let it go to waste. I'm gonna ask her out at some point in time. I don't know when, but I'm going to. I'm like, I had like, and man, I'm telling you, like, when you build that confidence up, like, I really need to do a video about like when you build confidence up, because you have like this newfound strength where it's like it really is insane. All right, it's really insane how like confidence just comes up out of nowhere. But so, anyways. But no, we were friends for some time. Like we were friends. I had to say, I think we started being cool with each other in the 8th grade. And so yeah, junior year is like about like a little over 4 years and things, or maybe close to 4 years. Either way, regardless. But no, like a lot of people, I take that back. I feel like a lot of people is kind of dragging in and stuff. There was like one person I do remember in particular where they were kind of like a mutual friend of us, me and the girl. And even she said that, we would make a cute couple and stuff. So I was all like, okay, with that, and then this confidence, me like talking to her on a regular basis, like fam, I had love for this girl. Like that's one of those things where I'm like, it's a dangerous thing to love somebody before you know that they have like the same feelings for you and stuff. So I'm like, that's one bit of advice that I would give out. Don't have love for a person that ain't got love for you, because that can that can destroy you and stuff once you find out that they don't share the same feelings and stuff. So anyways, trust me, I know. So I remember there was a day where, yeah, this confidence took over me. I was all like, nah, bro, I don't care what's going on. I don't care who's there. I don't care what's happening. I'm asking her out. I'm like, I don't care if she's sitting with her friends. I don't care if I'm sitting with my friends. This got to happen. All right. So I remember because so at the time our the high school that we had went to, they had like 2 lunchrooms. And so it was like a decent sized high school. I was like, I'm like, I was walking around and stuff, and I was doing any and everything I possibly could to find this girl. I'm asking friends. I think it was the friend that said that we would make a cute couple. I think I asked her. I'm like, hey, have you seen her? And I knew that we were gonna have like the next period, so I'm like, I guess I could just ask her, during the period and stuff. But I'm like, I can't wait. I'm like, this kind of one of those things. The planets lined up. I gotta have this happen right now. So, anyways, I'm going around the lunchroom. I'm looking around. I could not find her. Like, so there was like my friend group that I would hang out with, right? And because like the whole lunch, I'm trying to think, it passed by, and because like lunch was like maybe 30 to 40 minutes or something. I didn't get there until maybe I didn't hang out with my friends until maybe like the last 10 minutes of lunch. So they was like, they were worried. They were like, hey, where were you? You're late. I'm like, you supposed to be sitting with us. You out walking around doing tornadoes around this school and stuff. Like, what you got going on? So no, anyways, I went and sat down with them, and then I can't remember if I told them what I was doing and stuff. I think I might have just said that I was looking for somebody and things, but overall though, no. And then I had got up, and I can't remember what I was getting up for, but I remember I got up for something. All of a sudden, I look to the left of me. I see the girl. I definitely seen the girl. I guess I wasn't really expecting to, my eyes to see what they saw and stuff. She was holding hands with another guy, and it was at that moment I would have to say that that's when I just like, how like when them like, that glass where it just shatters and stuff. That was me. I was like, I shattered. And so I didn't really like cry or show no emotions while I was at school. Like, that's the one thing I guess like I didn't realize that I'm good at, but I am good at it, is hiding my emotions. So like if I'm going through some stuff, people don't know. Like, and but I had to say, like, the more it was building up, people did start catching on. They was like, I did have like some people asking me and stuff. I do remember the time. This was like sometime after the situation. But no, I remember I was hanging out with my mom, and she and like my me and my mom were always like cracking jokes, playing around, all that stuff. I wasn't. I was like, I was just kind of, just being quiet, not really. And I had to say, like, I feel like that's when I kind of just started changing. Like people always would say that, like when I was a kid, I was loud, and I do remember that. I remember like I was probably it was crazy because this was like before I got into drinking Red Bulls and stuff. I had all of the energy in the world. Then when I started drinking Red Bulls, it was like, oh, bro, it's like unstoppable, unstoppable force. But man, I'm telling you, there was nothing that could possibly happen that can get me out of that mood. Like I was destroyed. So I didn't show no emotions and I know people will probably be all like, wait, so like y'all had the next period and stuff. So how did that go? I don't remember talking to her. I think I had just kind of kept to myself. Like I think I had, because it was a photography class. So we were allowed to leave out the classroom and things. I think that's what I did. I just left out of the classroom and I just wanted to be alone. I was like, I think I just walked around and was just kind of like, just occasionally pull my phone out, take a picture of some random stuff and things. And yeah, I was all like, I was like, nah, I just don't want to be in the class. But I remember I got home, I laid down, and I think it was like later on that night, I just broke down in tears. I was like, I couldn't even, I couldn't hold it in any longer and stuff. And I broke down, I started crying. And no, and I do remember eventually bringing it up to her and stuff, because I think even she caught on and realized that something was wrong. And I remember I brought it up to her and stuff, and then that pretty much ruined the friendship and stuff. And then that's what really had ruined the friendship, because I was curious. I was like, because I did bring it up to her and stuff, because I think her and the guy broke up. And so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just try to shoot my shot again. I'm like, it's one of those things. I'm like, they wasn't even together that long. I'm gonna try to shoot my shot again and stuff. So, anyways, that's what had happened on why I was all like, nah. Because I think that if under like need any other circumstances, I definitely see it where it's like me and this girl would have still been together till this day. I'm like, nah, she was somebody where it was like when you feel like a bond outside of like the relationship and stuff. Like, this is somebody where I'm like, whether we're friends, whether it's like whatever the situation is, I'm like, I still want you to be there and stuff. So yeah, let's say even if we did get in a relationship, we broke up, I still would have wanted to be cool with her and stuff. But she said the one thing that was like, you know what, it ain't gonna even work out as friends, because I'm like, that's just not, I don't get it. You're friends with me, but you won't be with me over the color of my skin. This is something that she actually said to me. No, I ain't even gonna like, I had talked about this numerous times. I even got into it with somebody on Twitch over this. But so, anyways, she goes, I remember one day I asked her, I was like, like, what is it? Because I remember I was like, I was, being a little annoying with the situation. Like I kept chasing, because like you hear when people, when they say that, it's like, if you truly are in love with somebody or love somebody, whatever the case is, you chase after them. So I was chasing after her. And I remember I was like, I asked her, I was like, what's wrong with me? Like, what is it? Like, is it the way that I act, or is it the way that I talk? Like, what is it? Like, what's wrong with me, to where it's like, because I'm like, we cool with each other. It's like, well, I'm trying to figure out, like, what's the problem? And then yeah, that's when she was all like, I can't be with you, because of the color of your skin, because you're black. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, huh? I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. Time out. Flag on the play, 10-yard penalty. We gotta go back on this that you just said. What you mean? You're a person of color. She wasn't black, she was Hispanic, but I'm like, you're a person of color. How are you going? I hold on for a second. I'm like, that a timeout again, flag on the play, 10-yard penalty. We gotta go back even further, fam. It's one of those things where I'm like, I'm really trying to piece it together. And I guess, like, yeah, you don't really see too many like black and Hispanic couples, at least when I was in school. You didn't really see that too often and stuff. So anyways, but yeah, I was tripping off of that. And after that, I was all like, nah, bro, I don't want to be cool with her, I don't want to be friends with her. I think I remember we did. And so I made the mistake. I'm a she. That ain't the end of our saga and stuff, because she does get brought up again later on in the story. But yeah, now fast forward to the second heartbreak. Now this was in 2017, I think, when I had very first. Well, actually, I take that back. No, I didn't meet this girl back in 2017. I met her, I think it was like right after I graduated from high school. But I remember, because like, so when there were like people that I didn't know, but I like seen them around school, or we were like introduced to each other and stuff, I'll add them on social media, or follow them and stuff and things, right? So, anyways, I remember I was this girl, like, she because I was cool with her boyfriend. And so I wouldn't say like we were like, me and the boyfriend was the best of friends, but like when we had classes with each other or see each other in the hallways or out in public, we see each other about like, oh hey, what's up, bro? It's like, and all that stuff. But anyways, but no, overall though, I remember they went through a bad breakup, the guy and the girl and stuff. And so she posted something on, so because usually I just don't be reaching out to people like that and stuff. I was like, if I reach out, I was going through my own stuff. So I was all like, nah, it's just, it's whatever. I'm like, people be going through stuff. That's on them. But anyways, I think she posted on social media like something that kind of, because when I see people make like posts where I'd like, because I guess like I think of like the mindset that I was in. And so I'm like, I don't want other people to be in the same mindset. So I'm like, because again, that was junior year. So whole like, school year, like I did kind of heal a little bit. But it was one of those things where I'm like, I still was kind of going through my own stuff and things. And so, anyways, but no, yeah, she posted on social media, the second girl, how she was going through some stuff. I remember I reached out. I was just letting her know, like, hey, everything's gonna be all right. Just got hang in there, and eventually things will get better and stuff. Just kind of like just trying to push off some words of encouragement and stuff. So then I think that was maybe 2014, 2015, when that whole thing had happened. So anyways, fast forwards 2017. I'm a little bit older, I'm a little bit more wiser. I'm like, okay, I ain't going, a move like that, like in high school, I don't want to make a move like that no more and stuff. And yeah, I would say that, and the thing is this, I think people will be thinking I'm saying this out of place of anger, but I guess I'm saying this because I don't like being in a position where I'm hurt. But I genuinely do wish that I never would have even had messaged that girl the first time around, and then responded to the message that because she messaged me in 2017. And I remember, because I was like, at first I thought it was a fake account. I was like, because no, that was on the rise where like fake people would get their accounts hacked, and then they'd be all like, oh yeah, click this link and all this other stuff. And so I remember I was skeptical of the message at first when she because I was gonna like see if, I'm like, hey, let me see if this girl's active on any other social media website. So I'm like, hey, your account on Facebook messaged me, and I'm just making sure, is this actually you and stuff. So, but no, anyways, she messaged me, and I think she was just, just checking in and all that stuff. I don't remember even posting any things, but yeah, she just randomly messaged me and stuff. And so I was that close from ignoring the message. And I wish I would have. I genuinely wish that I would have just ignored that message. But overall though, no, I was all like, all right, just I guess see where the conversation goes. If she starts talking on some old weird stuff, unfriend, block, and I'm going on with my life. So but anyways, but no, it was actually her that was talking and stuff. And so then I was like, oh, okay, cool, So I think she did bring it up to me how I was there for her, like when she was going through some stuff. And I'm like, I do this to a lot of different people. I'm like, because I guess, like, when you go through some stuff and then you see other people go through some stuff, it's like, I guess, like, I look at it where I'm like, I don't want you to feel how I felt. So that's why I'm like, I try to do my best. Now, I would say that, if people be going through stuff, like if they go through breakups and all that stuff, I don't respond. Like, or not so much as respond. I guess if they reach out to me and they need somebody to talk to, then okay. Or if the conversation goes down that route. But if I do see people post and all that stuff, I don't know, like I feel like I should feel bad about it, but I don't respond to people. I ain't seen like multiple breakups, and I'm like, hey, I more, prayers out to you. I hope you get better and things, But yeah, I just don't be messaging people like that and stuff. So, but no, she messaged me, and then we was just talking and all that stuff. We were talking for a while, and it brought me back to, I remember with the first girl, like me and that the first girl, we would talk every day. Like we pretty much like wake up in the morning talking with one another, go to sleep talking, and it's like, yeah, So that's how it was with the second girl. Like cause no, I remember I think I was, yeah, because this is at the time when I was working in Seattle and stuff. So I'm on the bus all of a sudden. Because I think we exchanged phone numbers, maybe that first conversation. It was either the first or second conversation. I can't remember. But anyways, but no, I remember that we exchanged phone numbers, and then yeah, she texted me good morning and stuff. And I'm like, huh, all right. I mean, yeah, good morning. I'm like, yeah, I'm like, hopefully, yeah, day's going good. But we're talking the whole day. Like, I'm out here. It's like, so I'm at, so I was a cashier at this cafe. And so I'm over here like texting. I'm like looking, making sure the manager ain't showing up. See the manager. I'm like doing all that and stuff. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, all right, let me just make sure. I'm like, all right. So I'm like, okay, let me just see, because I'm like, I don't know and stuff. I'm like, I ain't trying to have it where I'm like, but I'm trying to respond and things. I'm trying to be instant with these responses and stuff. So, anyways, but no, I mean, me and the second girl, I felt like we talked more than the first girl and stuff. Like because I was like, dang man, I'm like, and I've only known her for like what, maybe less than a year and stuff. And so I was all like, huh, wow. I'm like, I don't know where this is going, but I'm like, I'm starting to feel something, and worst feeling. Like it was one of those feelings where I'm like, I wish I would have never felt that. But at the time being, I'm like, yeah, man, I'm like, this feels good. I'm like, this is like, feels like this could potentially go somewhere and stuff. So, anyways, me and her, we're talking pretty much every day and stuff. And then I remember I had asked her out. I was like, or no, actually, no, I think that's what it was. Is that I remember we hung out first, and then because I invited her over to my job, and I'm like, yeah, I'm like, you bring your peoples, bring, I'm like all that, and I'm like, they get free food and all that stuff. Like, fam, I remember I went past my lunchtime just so I can hang out with her and stuff. Like that's and the crazy thing is that like when you are starting to catch feelings and all that stuff, it's like, man, this is I don't care what happens, I guess, on, when it comes to jobs or anything else. I'm like, nah, man, this I'm like, I'll worry about the job stuff later. But I'm like, I'm trying, because I guess I'm looking at it where it's all like, this might be my one and only shot to find somebody that I can like spend a whole lifetime with and stuff, right? So, anyways, so I'm all like, man, I don't care. I'm like, I'll go. I'm a content creator. I'm like, I'll go make some YouTube videos and blow up all this other. I'm like, fam, I don't even plan on working here for a long period of time. So I'm like, I don't care about that. So, anyways, but no, overall, though, I remember we hung out. Family came over, and then I gave them like some free food and all that other stuff. And then I can't remember when exactly though I had asked her out, but I do remember it was at some point in time I did ask her out. And then that's when I think she had said like that she was like, oh, she was like, I kind of had a feeling that that was gonna happen and stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, what's the problem? I'm like, what's the problem if I ask you? That's why I'm like, man, I that's one thing about it where if I could just kind of talk on that real quick, people, if somebody asks you out, girl, guy, whoever, it don't matter. If this is somebody where it's like, ain't nothing wrong with them, they doing good for themselves in life. I'm saying like, there's absolutely nothing bad that can come out of the relationship. What would be the problem if they asked you out? I guess like that's, and I know people are all like, oh, well, if I don't have feelings and all this other stuff, I'm like, okay, tell me that, like rather than for me. And it's like, cause I guess I look at where it's all like, if I'm not hearing why, like you just all like, oh, sorry, no, I just I can't and all this other stuff, then I'm gonna keep going. Like I'm gonna keep chasing after because I'm like, okay, maybe she's a girl that wants to, want you to do some above and beyond. So I was doing some above and beyond stuff. And I know that this is, people are gonna probably be all like, oh yeah, bro, you was a simp, you was this, you was that. Yeah, I'm like, call me everything you want. I think I would rather be called that than to have it where I gotta go through another one of those things. Yeah, now I know, I guess for this time around, where if a girl approaches me or if we get to talking and we share mutual feelings, then I'm like, okay, marriage, kids, lifestyle, all that stuff. I'm like, we going through that. But if it's like that, like, oh, I'm like, I don't know nothing. I'm like, yeah. And that after this second girl, I'm like kind of just jumping the gun in the story and stuff. Yeah, I'm like, there's been times where me and women, we would like, just get to talking and stuff. If no nothing gets brought up, like I guess like relationship wise or nothing, I'm like, whether it's through, like a dating or social media content creating, all that stuff, I'm like, I don't pursue. I'm like, I know people are like, oh, you'll never know. And I'm like, okay, well, my thing is this. I didn't know before and I went after and I ended up getting my heart broken twice. I'm not going through that no more. So, anyways, but yeah, the she never would tell me like what it was and stuff. And I'm like, I don't know, maybe if it's the same situation as the first girl where it's like it's a thing with black people. And I'm like, dang, what's wrong with I'm like what did black people do? I'm like, we're just people. We just so happen to be darker than everybody else, but dang, we're just people. So it was, yeah, I that was one of those things where I'm like, man, I don't know what's going on, but yeah, I kept chasing and stuff. So, anyways, COVID had happened, and they were like people were talking about that and all that stuff. And I remember I told myself in the beginning of 2020, I'm like, I'm not even going to I'm not gonna if something happens between the both of us, then okay, cool, something happens. But if not, I'm not I'm not gonna go after her no more. I'm like, I'm done with that and stuff. So I probably wasn't. It probably wasn't, I was just trying to like tell myself that and things. And then I probably would have at some point in time, tried to go explore that conversation again. But so, anyways, I remember that when like so they had like at my job because we were kind of just like going back and forth of like who's gonna work this day, who's gonna work that day. So, anyways, it was my day off because it was like we were like, okay, there ain't nobody coming in and stuff because of this COVID stuff. So I think it was a Thursday. I think it was a Thursday where I was at home and stuff because I feel like they was the Thursday and then where she told me of what was going on. And then it was I think it was a Friday. So it was like a 2 day thing. I'm gonna get into it because I feel like I'm trying to like figure it out as I'm telling the story. So, anyways, I'll just tell. So it's like I ain't sitting here thinking, trying to figure it out. So, but anyway, so I remember I was home and then she told me like I think she was all like she wasn't like really like I guess like being all that talkative in the conversation and stuff because we were texting each other. And so I'm like, hey, is everything all right? Like what what's going on and stuff. And then that's when she was all like, oh, like it's just some stuff going down at work. And I'm like, okay, well, what's going on? I'm like, I'm not there. So I'm like, I'm like, what's happening and things. And she didn't want to tell me. She didn't want to tell me what was going on and stuff. And so I'm like, I could potentially help. I'm like, I'm there like, or pass along some advice. I'm like, fam, I've been working at a job for 4 years now. I feel like I ain't went through everything that they need to be go through. Not this. And so, anyways, she finally tells me. And then, yeah, that's when she said that I guess that, she was seeing a guy at work and she didn't want to tell me because she knew that it would hurt me. And I'm like, I'm fine. I'm like, I'm not, I wasn't fine. I was not fine at all. Because no, it was the same situation all over again. It just broke down. Well, I didn't start crying, but I remember going because I was sitting with my family, and then when I seen the message, I was like, dang. I just remember I kind of just was like sitting there. I think I told my family, I was like, I'll be right back. I just need to kind of just go off up in my room real quick. I'm like, I need to just be away. And so I sat at the edge of my bed and I was just kind of like just sitting there and stuff. And I was like, dang, bro. Like, man, I'm like, why does this happen? I'm like, why does this like, you gain feelings for somebody, you just know that it's gonna work out, but then they just like hit you with some crap where it's like, what's going on, bro? Like what's happening? So, anyways, I was all like, you know what? I'm gonna try to do things differently. I am gonna try to, I guess mentally, I guess take this situation in and just overall be better and stuff, right? So, anyways, I remember the next day, I think I was going out and I was getting me some Jordans. It was these Air Jordan 6, but it was like a jean. It was like a Levi. It wasn't really a Levi collaboration, but I guess they were trying to make it look like some like Levi. Like it was like a jean Jordan and stuff. So it's weird. But anyway, they were decent. I remember I was trying to do some customizations to them and stuff. But anyways, but no, I remember I was going out, I was getting some Jordans. We got to texting each other and I let her know and I was all like, hey, like it's whatever. I'm not tripping about it. I really wish that that would have just been like the end of it, like that had just been like, okay, have a good life and all that stuff, like, but I just think that it's just needed to be one of those things where we didn't need to be friends anymore at that point, because it's like, yeah, you chase after somebody for a few years. I'm like, there's like, and that's the thing, like with the first girl, I think it was like I didn't really start chasing after her until like we got into high school and stuff. But then no, then it was then it was with this girl. I was like, yeah, I'd say that it went on. I think it was like right after we got the talking to one another, and maybe that was just bad on my part. I shouldn't have gained feelings so fast, but yeah, I was all like, nah, man, I just didn't think that we needed to be friends anymore. So that's why I'm like, I wish that the whole thing would have just ended right there. But no, I had let her know. I was all like, I'm not mad. I'm not feeling a certain way, even though I was. But I was like, yeah, it's just it's whatever. I guess I was more so saying that for myself to just be all like, hey, relax, calm down. There's more women out there, like there, I guess that old saying, there's more fish in the sea and stuff, but I'm like, the sea is a big place. I'm like, I don't know where exactly I guess I don't know, I feel like it's weird saying like fish and stuff because I'm like, ain't that derogatory towards women? So I'm like, I ain't even gonna. Overall, the point that I'm trying to make is that this ain't no small planet. I'm like, so what? Am I supposed to travel all the way to Kentucky or Canada or Mexico? And I'm like, fam, I don't. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, I guess like it's things like that where I'm like, if I'm content with what's in front of me, I'm like, fam, I don't care about nobody else, So that's why I'm all like, yeah, I was hurting. That's why I was like, it was just kind of like building up and stuff. And so, anyways, I remember she was all like, oh, she was like, I think she was like thanking me. And I don't remember exactly what she said, but I remember the one thing that she did say, and I was all like, why even say that? I'm like, that's like, it's certain things that just don't need to be said. But she was all like, oh, I really tried to like you and have feelings for you and all that stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, I've never said anything bad to this girl. I never done anything bad. Like I've never put myself in a situation where people had to like look at me differently and stuff, So yeah, it was definitely one of those things where after she had said that, then it just kind of like, huh? I'm like, what? Like, why did that even need to be said? But so, anyways, I was like, it's whatever. So it was the last day of my old job because it was COVID was like really getting serious and stuff. And I just remember just kind of like sitting over it on the weekend and things, and I was just all like, it was really like, I guess like eating at me and stuff. So I remember going into work, and then yeah, it was pretty much the same situation of like just kind of just being off to myself because usually I'm like cracking jokes, like having fun, but it was like not all the employees were there. It's just only a few employees and stuff. So anyways, but even then still, I like we will all be cracking jokes and all that stuff. So I remember just kind of like just going around the cafe and just kind of was off to myself. But I made the mistake of reaching out to the girl and then just pretty much telling her how I felt. Like I just put all my emotions on the table. And yeah, I was all like, just see what happens and stuff. Nothing happened. I don't know why I expect anything to happen. It's like I should know me by now, and I think that's why I'm not so quick to pursue after relationships and stuff. Like if there ain't nothing there, I'm like, yeah, it's like if ain't nothing there, then I'm like, hey, all right, more power to you. Have a good life. I'm moving on. So, but anyways, but yeah, overall though, nothing came out of it, and then it was just pretty much same thing. Like, no, it ain't gonna work out, that whole business. And so then yeah, that's when I had to say, like, that's when it was kind of like just finally accepting where it was like, dang man, like she was never the one, like she was never supposed to be the one and stuff. And I'm like, why does this have to be one of those like life lessons that I have to go through? I'm like, dang man, let me like go through something where I'm like I slip and fall and I'm embarrassed because I'm like I fell down in front of a bunch of people, or like get like a speeding ticket, or like I don't know, like a card decline out in public or something, and then it's like the person yells it out loud. Why could I not go through stuff like that where it'll probably only affect me for like a hour and a half or something, and then I go on with my life? Why do I have to have like some, like, I wouldn't necessarily say it's like lifelong trauma, but I just feel like that it's definitely one of those things where I'm like, I I don't like trust, I guess, like, communication. Like I say that communication is key, but at the same time, I'm like, if we just conversating and I really don't know where this is going and stuff, then I'm like, yeah, like I guess it's one of those things where it's like, okay, you need to tell me that you like see, like, oh hey, I reached out to you because I'm interested, all this other, rather than just being like, oh hey, hi, because I don't really know. I guess like if the conversation, if the truth ain't being told, then I'm like, I don't really know how to go about the conversation and stuff. So that's why I'm like, if we just kind of like talking like we two secret spies and we're trying to like figure each other out and stuff, I'm like, fam, this ain't Mr. and Mrs. Smith. We're two random people. Let's just have a normal conference or a conversation where it's like, okay, if this is leading somewhere, okay, cool. Because I remember there was this one girl that I went to school with, and she was and I remember me and her, we ended up actually being good friends after this. Like, no, we were having like many food fights and stuff in the middle of lunch and things, and she was like, no, she was actually a cool person. I remember it was one of my friends, may he rest in peace, but she was dating him and stuff, and I was happy for their relationship and things. And so anyways, but no, I do remember where I think we had added each other because I think we had classes or something like that. But I remember we added each other, and then that's when I think we just kind of like was like messaging each other and things. And then she was like, hey, I just want to let you know, like, I'm not interested in you. I'm talking to somebody and all this other stuff. And I was like, oh, okay. I mean, I wasn't really, I guess like pursuing after you and stuff, but I appreciate that, the honesty and things. After that, like, fam, we were playing Grand Theft Auto. I remember like we were stealing each other's cars and bikes and stuff, shooting at each other. Like that, I had to say that was like one of those best friends that you make by accident. Like you don't really like, I guess, like see yourself being best friends. Like I would have to say, compared to the two girls, the Heartbreak girls and stuff. Yeah, I was like, I think I would have like, I guess like if a relationship could have came out of me and the one girl, I'm like, yeah, it's like she, at least like the honesty was there and stuff. So yeah, I was like, but nah, she was cool though. I was like, to I ain't gonna name drop her and stuff, but she'll, if I guess if she ever does see this video, then yeah, I'm like, you are a real one. I'm like, nah, the honesty goes a long way. So but anyways, but no, overall though, I do, dang, I just like this kind of freaked me out right here. This looks like two eyes. And I was all like, I was about to just be like, all right, I'm like, so we gonna have to put this video on pause for a while, because I gotta fight whatever. Hold on for a sec. I gotta fight whatever this is, because it's just, yeah, that look freaky, man. I'm like, I don't even understand like how. Hold on for a second. I gotta like just see real quick. Okay, so I think, yeah, that just, oh, hold on for, oh, it's, I think it's okay, so it's this thing, right? Okay, so yeah, it's that. All right, because I was about to say, I'm like, yeah, that look freaky. I was about to say, bro, why is this happening? I'm like, can whatever that is just wait until I get through this video? But anyways, That Monday, so I said everything I need to say. She said it wouldn't work out. So then at that point, just broke me down. Didn't cry at work, but I just remember I was just pretty much depressed the whole day. Got home, and then I think I started playing Destiny 2. And then but I was all like, I knew that I was breaking down and stuff. And so I remember I posted on social media and was all like, hey, can I just talk to somebody real quick? And it was quite a few different people that reached out to me and stuff. And I was like, man, they all pretty much they all said the same thing, that yeah, you just got to move on at this point, cuz like if you're in this position now, it's never gonna work out, and hearing that, yeah, it was like it was the realization. But then yeah, I was all like, I y'all are telling the truth. I'm like, no, you guys are seriously telling the truth right now. And so I cried that night. Cried a few, I cried a few times actually during that time frame and stuff. And then I wasn't really in the right mind to do like content creating stuff, because I told myself, I was like, when I have the opportunity to, I was like, I was gonna use this time to do like some content creating stuff. I couldn't even do that. I honestly, I ain't even gonna lie. Like I genuinely thought that I was gonna quit content creating, because I was like, I'm not in the right mind. But I think I had just said I was gonna take me a break and stuff. So then, but yeah, I was all like, I just can't really face myself right now in front of a camera and things. And so, but no, overall though, and and that was I just felt like what was dumb on my part, doing things differently. Because with the other girl, I remember the first girl, I cut her off. And so, but no, so exploring her again and things. So I reached out to her. And then yeah, overall I was just like, just kind of, because I wasn't in the right mind. I That's something that I can like say right now, that back 2020, I had to say 2020, 21, 22, and I think 23 was when I kind of like snapped back into reality and stuff. But like 20, 21, 22, I wasn't in the right mind. So I remember I reached out to that girl from high school, explore that situation again. And then I think I asked her out. Dumb on my part, because I was all like, why would you do that? Because and I think that at times I'm like, why would you do that? This girl sat there and broke you down in high school and said she on like on some old racist stuff. I'm like, nah. So it's definitely one of those things where I'm like, I guess if that girl ever does see that video, just letting you know, I was not in my right mind back in 2020 when I asked you out. So don't think like, oh, it's like I still got it and all this other stuff. Trust me, the relationship, I probably would, if that would have came about in the relationship, it probably would have ended a lot quicker than it started up. So that's why I'm like, nah. I think I definitely, because I was like, yeah, it probably would have been 2023 when I snapped out of it. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute, time out. Like, unless like, I don't know, if we had like a family or something, like if we had a kid, I think I probably been like, okay, well, too late to go back now. So, but other than that, I'm like, if nothing, yeah, I was like, if nothing would have came out of that relationship, I probably would have ended it and stuff. So, but anyways, I remember no, like I and what was crazy about that, right? Was that even after that, like, I still remained friends with the girl, did all these different things, and then yeah, I was all like, I sit down and I think about that, and I'm like, man, there was a lot of stuff that I did that I shouldn't have done. And then I remember the last time I seen her, because no, so I think that's what it was that I think it was some of her cousins. As you guys can see, I have a little bit of a sneaker collection, and there was a lot of different sneakers that I was getting rid of and stuff, because I think I was just doing any and everything that I possibly can to like kind of take my mind off of things. So I got heavy into my sneaker addiction. What else? And but no, overall though, I remember the last time I seen her, she came over here, she came over to my house. And because I was like, oh yeah, if your cousins need some sneakers and stuff, I'm like, I got like pretty much a gang of them on standby and things, sneakers I'm gonna donate. So I'm like, yeah, it's like whatever ones they like, I'm like, they could just come over and look and stuff. And I'm like, they don't need to pay or anything. So I'm like, let's just consider it a gift, I guess, because I'm like, I know how hard it is to come by sneakers. And so I'm like, yeah, to just kind of have some on standby. I'm like, all right, take whatever and things. So I remember she comes over to my house. And then I remember, yeah, we were just kind of, we wasn't even really talking. I think it was just, she came over, she got the sneakers and stuff. And then I think it was like, I remember she looked at me, and I was just kind of like, I wasn't really and the I have to I think that's why I feel like that I was kind of like rebuilding myself, and then I was realizing that like this ain't good, like this lifestyle and stuff where I'm like I'm still in communications with this girl. I'm like, this ain't good for me and things, having to still keep constantly seeing her and stuff. And so I remember I think the last thing she said to me, she was all like, "Oh, we're gonna hang out real soon." And I was like, all right, I guess. Like I like if you say so and things. But no, but I had to say like throughout that time frame, because even when I was like when the like situation between the second girl when it was fresh, I wasn't eating. I was like, no, that I feel like that's something that I forgot to admit. I wasn't eating, so I did kind of lose a little bit of weight. Like I think I was at 140. I've always been a small person and stuff. So I had to say, like, now I'm like at 170 and stuff. And I'm like, dang, I'm like, this new weight. I'm like, I still feel light, but I'm like, dang, man, I'm like, I'm putting on some pounds. But no, but I think I was like 140 something. I think it was like 141 or something like that, 143. But anyways, I had lost like 20 pounds. And when like that whole situation, because I wasn't eating and stuff. So I remember like I'll kind of just be in like, just have like some food in front of me. And I'm just like, I can't eat this. I'm like, even if it was just something as little as some like ramen noodles or something, I'm like, I can't eat nothing. And so, no, and I think, and then it was funny the first time around. My mom had noticed that something was wrong with me. Then it was at work when I think it was the last day. I think it was the last day at my job. So there was the one manager that I was cool with. I would visit her and stuff. And I think I had like a protein shake, and I'm like, I know that's not enough to keep a person full, but I'm like, that's pretty much all that I can take right now. So but I remember I went and sat down with her because there was like a letter that was kind of handed out to everybody, letting us know that like that we were gonna be closed until further notice and stuff. So I was all like just kind of talking with her. But I remember I was sitting there and stuff, and she was all like, "Hey, are you good?" I was like, yeah, why? And she was like, you look like you're losing weight and stuff. And I've been small my whole life. So if me being small and I look like I'm losing weight, and then cause yeah, she was like, I can see it in your arms, like you look smaller and stuff. And so I'm like, dang, just within a few days, I'm like, I guess I haven't really been, but I'm like, you ain't gonna lose that much weight though. Like I think it wasn't until like later on when I weighed myself, that's when I seen that I was like in the like 120 section and stuff. But I don't know, maybe that was like rapidly losing weight then and stuff. I don't know. But overall though, no, I just remember though that I was all like this, like those 3 years just wasn't good and stuff. And so from that, and then just not being myself, and then yeah, I just wasn't really in the right mind and things. And so 2023 had came around, and I knew that I was all like, there's nothing good that's gonna come out of this. Me having to keep constantly seeing her and all that other stuff. And then yeah, just I guess I don't want this to be a situation where it's like I'm having to like I guess like because like so that was one thing that I did see, because I guess like I'm cool with some of her family. And no, the her and the guy, they did get married. And I'm like, man, I just remember when I seen that, and I was just all like, oh well, I'm like, congratulations. I'm like, if expecting call, text, whatever. I'm like, no. Like I know people are gonna probably be all like, oh, you being petty, you need to be a more forgiving person. Fam, I was hurt, and I'm like, I ain't gonna say that I'm still hurt to this day. I know people will probably be all like, oh, there's still time for you to say congratulations. No, I'm like, she don't need no congratulations from me. I'm like, my thing is this. Okay, I guess like if like congratulations if she ever does see this video. More power to you and your guys's marriage. I hope it's goes on forever and things. But as far as like the thing is this: people need to understand like after situations like that, it really alters your life. It really changes you as a person. So this nice, caring, person that I once was before, that's I would say that I'm nice and caring, but I'm nice and caring to people that I feel like that deserves to be, have some nice and caring, actions being done towards them and things. But as far as like, like me giving in and all that, no, I'm like, what's good for my health is, overall. So this is what I ended up doing. So 2023. I reached out to her, and I'm like, I know people were like, "Oh, you should have met up with her, called her." I'm like, I did not want to see her. I'm like, I think that was best for me. I'm like, but at the same time, I'm like, I'm not gonna be one of those people where I'm like gonna beat around the bush at us not being cool no more and things. Like, no, I'm gonna just be flat out honest. So I did send her a text message. I let her know that I was all like, yeah, this can't be a thing no more. Us being friends and stuff. So I was like, hey, good luck in life. Just overall, yeah, I'm like, go do your thing, but I got to do my thing. And then, yeah, then I think I remember I had checked social media. She unfollowed me and unfriended me, and I'm like, all right, I mean, I guess. But there was one particular friend because I remember she kind of like knew of all the stuff that was going on and stuff. So I remember it was one of my friends where it was crazy because like me and this person, like we wasn't the other friend that I reached out to, we wasn't like really cool no more. And so, but she did know of like all the different stuff that was going on between me and this girl. And so I remember that was like the first person I had reached out to. There was a third person where yeah, I was all like, I cut that girl off. And then she like I think she was shocked by it and was all like, whoa, like you actually I'm like, yeah, I messaged her and I just said like, yeah, friendship's over pretty much. And then it's crazy. It's like, a friendship came out of that and stuff. But yeah, that was one thing I was realizing that I was all like I wasn't I was changing in a way where I didn't want to be this person and stuff. So I was all like I got to start doing some things to where it like makes my life better. And no, yeah, I would say that I had to say like just kind of cutting that individual off. I was like I do feel like that it was a lot healthier for me because I feel like if I would have had to continue, with that, I don't think it would have been good. I definitely don't think that it would have been good. And I'm like, I think it's just best that she does her thing, I do my thing, and then yeah, we just go our separate ways. I guess I look at it where I'm like, I if people are struggling and they really need my help with something, I guess because I like as you guys can see, I do have a couple of Bibles. I am trying to be more forgiving. But at the same time, I'm like, I'm not going to let you get involved in my life again and then, like, I guess, like, tear me apart, like, no, I'm not doing that. So if it's on some stuff where it's like, I guess it's just on something where it's like, you need my help, okay, I'll help you out, but don't be expecting no hanging out, being friends, and all that other stuff. I'm like, I'll help you out, but you got to go your separate ways. I'm like, that's the deal. So that's why I kind of just how I look at things. Maybe in the future it might change to where it's like, oh, okay, let the past be the past, and then we be cool. But I think for now, like if yeah, she were to reach out and be all like, hey, I need your help with some stuff. I'm like, I'll help you, but the whole like being friends and all that stuff, no. I'm like, I'll help you out on whatever it is, and then we just go our separate ways from that. If we could just be in the same sphere and not communicate, cool. But and I know people will probably be all like, that's not a good thing to live by, or that's not good. I'm like, hey, look, I ain't gonna say that I'm hurt, but at the same time, I guess I do have my guard up to where I don't want to get hurt again. So, but anyways, with that being said, yeah, man, heartbreaks, they're really, I guess I feel like this is more of a story time than it was a an advice giving or motivational. But I guess like, to just spit out some motivation real quick. I moved on. I feel like that's like the whole key thing to this story time slash motivational videos, that the good thing that came out of it is that I moved on, and I'm doing better in life. I was like, content creating's going good, life's going good. I've changed my ways for it to be better. And then yeah, I was like, nah, man, I would rather live the life that I'm living now than to live the life that I was living, like, 6 years ago, then just kind of a little bit after those 6 years and stuff. So yeah, I'm like, man, a lot has changed, but I'm like, it's changed for the better. And I'm like, that's one thing where I'm like, yeah, bro, I'm like, I think I'd rather stay in this position in life than any other position. But anyways, with that being said, I will talk to y'all later. Thank you guys for watching. Like, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and peace.